deciding not to trade. But we're watching Boeing drop here off of the, couldn't seem to break 151. And what else, Brian? Oh, yes, and of course we were watching PSTI, which had some news. Our Benzinga news feed sometimes gives us a heads up. This was a great example. PSTI, it was about $3.60 when we heard the announcement, and that was, we had a couple of members in our room that were able to take that for a ride up $1 plus up towards $5. Look at it, it's sort of back down now to those levels. As we said, it's sort of a pump and dump. I mean, it wasn't an organized pump and dump. It was just news came out that they were using, I guess they'd sort of, on a compassionate care rule, they were using an untested drug basically on humans who were infected with the virus as a last-ditch cure. No, I didn't hear the news as to whether it was effective or not, but just that they were trialing it is what popped this thing. So we'll see what happens with it here.
Yeah. Just what you want to be, a human guinea pig, basically.
You here on the mic with me for...
No other,
oops, sorry, Brian.
Other alternative? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, people on YouTube, we've got Brian on the mic with me, and we'll probably have Mike joining us. We have a number of our moderators that are in the room. So
nice. Good afternoon, everybody.
We'll all be trading together here. I'm hoping Mike took a trade on American Airlines. It was one of our signature type trades. And being that I was getting all the setup, I missed the entry here, but hung out below VWAP. Even put in like a little double pincer to say it wasn't serious about jumping above VWAP. Then came down, moving average cross with the 50 over the 9 and 20. Let me show you on the screen here. This is, look at this. This is the setup that I like, right? So it's sort of flat line below VWAP. This shows me it was unable to push through with these two little antenna, if you want to call them. And the moving average cross broke down here, and you could have been 15, 20 cents to the good with what probably would have been a 10-cent risk, right? From 1240 to 1250-ish. So that one's looking nice right now, but I'm not in that trade. Had a good morning, so I wasn't actively looking for trades this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Peter, Brian.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Welcome.
How's it going, man?
Not too bad. Little slow of the day for me, but overall decent.
You know, because you normally only trade the afternoons. Is that right, Mike?
Yeah, I normally do. Unless I get a very good setup in the morning, I just tend to trade about 10 o'clock on.
Right.
West Coast time.
And that, so yeah, it's like 1 o'clock market time then. And, and that actually had been working well for the last little while, but ever since we've gone into this really volatile market, I've noticed the afternoons have been quieter, at least, especially the last 4 or 5 days. Because like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of last week, and then today, it's been quieter, tougher to find nice trending trades.
Yes, very, very difficult to find them, but as long as you stick to your rules and you find it, like today, I got Microsoft about 20 minutes ago. I got stopped out on my first try at it, but then it dropped down again, and I got a good partial right away, but unfortunately, I had the wrong share size in there, so I completely closed my position. Otherwise, I'd still be short in it. Sometimes. The importance of being focused all the way through your trade.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Microsoft with the multiple tops here, so I imagine you took it first probably somewhere around 255. Or about 40 minutes ago.
Right about there.
Yeah, and then that spike would have stopped you out. But good for you to look at that double top and say, yeah, it's still not pushing higher, and then to get short again. So yeah, it's a good trade.
Yep, I took the second short was 324, right about 324 on it.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense.
Right before the big dump of the SPY. So
that's good. Yeah, I like that
so
trade.
SPY is just hanging on right now to this this moving average. These couple of moving averages here. It's trying to hold. So may get a push into the close here.
Sorry, guys. On YouTube, I'm used to ignoring Benzinga. I realize you were probably hearing it, which is when we're talking and Benzinga's in the background, it'll probably be very confusing, but I was busy ignoring it. So I've turned it off now. But that's our live news feed. It provides that verbal feature you were talking about. And so that's what allowed us to get into this PSTI trade earlier, which gave a good pop before the pullback. Usually Benzinga in the afternoons, we just use it for the momentum trades. But still, I mean, you only need one or two of those that go well to really make up the value for a whole year for that service.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Yeah, just a little bit choppy. CCL looked like it was going to break down, but now it's come back up again. But yeah, everything's chopping along here. Keeping an eye on Zoom too. Zoom's been the standout, strong trade during this pandemic crisis.
Yeah, for those that are joining us on YouTube, I might take an opportunity. I can give you a sneak peek at the room here. If just bringing up on the screen here, you can sort of see the chat room. Let me get the clock. Move the clock away for a second. But actually, let me make this smaller so you can see it. But you can see, so Brian's actually sharing his screen. So here's Brian's screen, what he was looking at. He was talking to us about overall market trends, which he does on Monday afternoon. And then, here's a commentary we've got the ongoing in the room. And then we have many people that like to share their trades. So you can see all throughout the day, people sharing their trades in here and charts so people can understand sort of what they do. VWAP. And look at the short he got down to low of day. So once again, another lovely trade for Thor. We're never surprised. Thor always has great trades. But there's our room.
You're just keeping an eye on Zoom. It looks like it wants to go higher again.
Yeah, let me take a peek at
market's pushing higher.
Zoom. Here
going back up to the high of the day after we had that little sell-off. I kind of figured that was going to be
what's going on.
Price action.
Zoom is going the same direction as the market. That's not right.
Yeah, well, almost.
Zoom was our reverse trade. It was always like going exactly the opposite direction. So we were talking about essential services a little while ago, and I thought it was interesting. This weekend, I was sort of only half joking that I was starting to run out of some of my favorite drinks. Basically, running out of alcohol in the house. And I said, I don't even know. Are the liquor stores open? So my son did a quick search, and he said, he's like, get this. So in Ontario, in the province of Ontario, I don't know if they've done this elsewhere, they've declared the liquor stores an essential service. The reason being is that anybody with alcoholism would be their health would be severely impacted if the liquor stores weren't open. I thought that is fascinating justification. Like, I get it, but that still doesn't sound right.
So in Ontario, you have to go to a liquor store to get liquor?
All alcohol in Ontario is actually sold by the government. So the LCBO, which is the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, sells all alcohol. They've recently opened it up so you can sell it through grocery stores, like wine and beer through grocery stores, but it's all controlled by the Ontario government, which means that actually our Liquor Control Board is one of the largest alcohol buyers in the world. Because they have the exclusive rights, essentially, to provide for 5.5 million Canadians. So
Interesting.
yeah.
I
It is.
figured that would be something that California would get into, but they still sell the liquor in the grocery stores. So
It's very lucrative. They keep talking about privatizing it. A number of years ago, they actually went on. There's something called the beer store, right? Very, very, cleverly named.
Yep.
That just sells beer.
Yep.
But it's privately managed, run, overseen, I guess, by the government. But they tried to semi-privatize that. Unfortunately, the owners are all large, like Molson and Labatt's, and I don't know, whoever, Anheuser-Busch, they all have a stake in it. So you can, so it's always, the craft brewers always say it's tough for them to get their product in there and to compete because, the thing's owned by the major brewers. So, but yeah, it's surprising how it's lasted so long. But as a taxpayer, I guess it helps defray taxes because they certainly make a lot of money off of it.
All right, we'll had a nice little run on Uber while you were talking,
Oh, I see
but
that.
and the market's right back up to the prior high. Looks like it might have put in a bit of a double top here. We'll see.
I wouldn't be trusting Uber again today. It's just moving so erratically. I mean, look at this. We were talking about this earlier. Look
Yeah.
at these flat lines. It just how do you trade that when it moves? Like it
No,
doesn't
it's-
move a penny for 4 or 5 minutes. I don't know.
yeah, the that sell-off or that buy over there at 1405, that was very interesting to watch. Just how stalled the price action got.
Yeah, like it was, like it was dead flat for a few minutes, and then the massive move, right? And then it just spiked down, came back up. Like it's just the moves were so crazy. Anyways,
Yeah, because if you look there, what is it, 3 minutes right there where those candles are just flat?
yeah.
The price action just stood there and waited with all those big orders on the bid and ask side.
Well, and the thing, Mike, as well, we were talking about this. Look at over that period. Look how much the volume increased. Like it wasn't like there was no transactions happening. The volume was actually very high.
Yeah.
So, compared to the rest of the volume. So this is, I would say, look at from 425 through till now. It's more of, the type of movement you would expect. But the volume is about a third what it was over that period when it was doing nothing and then just whipping up and down. So there's definitely some big players who were doing something, right? Whether they were accumulating or selling or I don't know what the heck they were doing. But there was certainly a lot of activity. That created, for a retail trader, an almost impossibility to trade. All right. Anybody have any trades on right now? Is anybody still in the PSTI that we had talked about, gritting it out, or maybe got in for a slower pull up? Not something I typically trade. I think it's a low float as well, but. Lou's in AAL. Just got a little bounce on that.
That would be Lou Reed.
Lou Reed
You.
is. He's it's all courtesy of our member named Lou Reed, who I've been busy playing Lou Reed songs, Walking the Wild Side, for example, this afternoon. Or this morning.
Oh, looks like
Put him in my head.
SPY is gonna go. SPY wants to go higher. We're getting back up. Disney's coming back up again.
Wow, Adams. So you say you're actually long Uber from the previous close? I think that's bold.
It's had a pretty crazy. Yeah, it's had a pretty crazy. It's had some pretty crazy moves in the last 5-10 minutes. It's had some. Got two candles with some really long tails.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them reversing type candles. Dojis there. Whoop, look at that. Just popped. Like just crazy price action.
Yeah, like I just it's totally unmanageable. I guess I would keep a hawk's eye on it though, Lou. If you're still in that, or sorry, Adams M. If you're still in Uber, just be careful, right? Because I mean, as much as this thing's popping, hey, and it's at 28 now, great. Maybe take a partial there. who knows? But this thing could easily go right back to a previous close, like in a heartbeat. So just be aware of that. I mean, hope it doesn't for your sake, but with how it's been moving, it would not surprise me. Yeah, I would still keep a close eye on AMS, even though you've got so great that you've got a partial. That's fantastic, and if you've got a stop, and that's good. I would just be worried about it blowing through your stop, and with how it's moving. So you may not get the fill you want.
Yeah, that was like my cake trade last week.
Yes, right. I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah, I got that 40-cent slippage.
yeah. Isn't that awful? Isn't that awful? Like I've done that's happened to me a few times where I've put a stop at break even, and it's one of those where like it just because the price action whips back so much, I get a little partial, and then it whips back and basically, like erodes what little money I made on the partial. I hate that.
And what got me was my stop was at break even. The price action wicked up, wicked down, and then the triangle for the sell order populated at the top of the candle.
Right.
After it was already below the break even.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
the upside and the downside of using. I assume you used a market order on that then, like
Yep.
a market limit. Yeah. See, the market limit orders I like because at least I know I'm going to get filled. However, when you get that rapid price action, you might get filled farther away from your targeted price than you had anticipated. It works both because sometimes I've actually with the marketable limit order, it's whipped past, but if it only whips past by a few cents, it actually waits to fill until it gets back to my target price. So that's worked in my favor, but it's also, like you've said, Mike, worked against me sometimes where it's just gone, and then I get filled at this crazy price, and I'm like, well, that sucked. But,
Yeah.
let's see. For those on YouTube, if appreciate if you hit the like button. If this afternoon into the close show is providing value, we're all trying it out. Appreciate your comments and feedback, as I've said every day. I'll put my email address. You're welcome to email me if you've got recommendations, suggestions, ways we can improve this, things you would want to see. We figure with so many new people, it looks like out there who are looking at trading or just, looking at the markets since they're at home and not at work, we thought we'd provide a little extra content and value out there. So hopefully it's of value. And if not, let us know what we can do to improve. We're always looking forward to that. Gerard on YouTube is suggesting I check out Marvel. I've never liked trading Marvel, but let me take, or I should say Marvell. It's Marvell Technologies, not...
not the comic book.
Not the comic book, exactly.
Or the film industry.
Yeah, Marvell is right around VWAP. It's sort of tried to break through a few times, and it's back below it. While it's green on the day, this looks like it... I'd probably be betting on a short this with a stop. Yeah, stop up above the peak of the candle then. So there, but it's got a lot of confusion, right? A lot of moving averages down below here, so I'm not sure I would take it either way, to be honest. And looks like I would have been wrong and stopped out. So there you go. Yeah. There you go. That's why I don't like Marvell. It doesn't like me. It doesn't like my calls.
Mm.
That would have been a fast stop.
SVXY is looking kind of interesting. SVXY, which is the inverse of volatility. We seem to be losing volatility here.
So this is the short-term futures ETF. Oh, yeah. Short. So yes, it's the inverse. Got it.
Yeah, so sort of like shorting VIX or shorting the TVIX. Could be interesting for a bit of a overnight hold on a swing. Uber's still pushing higher. Boy, look at that go. CCL just
Wow.
squeezed people.
Uber is up. Wow, that's crazy. Let's see what's on the earnings calendar tonight. Anything interesting?
Not
Kronos?
much. No,
Oh, Restoration Hardware?
there's Restoration Hardware is there. Yep.
That's about it. There's a few at 5 o'clock, but they're no big companies. Yeah, we're really limping into earnings season here. We don't
Yep.
see. That's really it. Kronos would be one that potentially I would watch as a pot stock that we've looked at in the past. Restoration Hardware occasionally has given some reason to trade it, but they don't announce till 4:20, so that'll be a little later today. And that's it. Yeah, that's all I've got.
Yeah, there isn't much. And there's not much tomorrow morning either.
Let's see here. What do we got in the morning? Conagra. That might be interesting to see what their numbers look like. That comes out early too, at 7:30 a.m. So
Hey, no worries. Good, Lou. Glad you got that one.
yeah, but you're right, Brian. There's not a lot. Not a lot. Take a peek at Uber here. Oh wow, wow, Lou. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
I know. Woo!
Adams,
Holy cow.
Adams, tell me you got a partial somewhere up near 28.30. I hope. See, this is why. Like I said, like
Ah,
this thing is nuts. How do you trade that? 40 cent, more than that. Look at that. That would have been. What was that? That was like a 60 cent drop, just like that.
It looks
yeah,
like
this,
the same pattern. If you notice, see
Yep.
how it shoots up, then it pauses for a minute, and then it dumps,
Yep.
and then it will consolidate in repeats on the 1 minute.
Yeah. It's like if you're going long, as soon as you see it sort of stop to go sideways, you darn well better take a partial. Like as soon as that price action
yeah.
stops at a level, or get out or something, because otherwise, yeah, you're gonna see. You're right, Mike. It's done this almost like every time. Now, in a second here, it'll probably be right back up at 28.38, but I mean, there's some volume.
There has to be somebody with some big money
Yeah.
getting into Uber.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it's either somebody's dumping a bunch of shares or somebody's really getting in. So I don't know which it is, but based on how it pauses and then drops, that's why I was thinking originally that it was somebody getting out, because they would just run out of absorbing volume. But I don't know. I wish I knew exactly what was going on. Like there was a big order sitting at 28.38. Let's see if it's still there. So it's been pulled.
Spy going for the high of the day again. Trying.
Now we got 20,000 shares parked at 27.73. So we'll see if it goes back down to that level. 27.90. Somebody's jumped in ahead of that. Yeah, I don't know. This Uber is just it gives me a heart attack just looking at it.
Yeah, the range of price movement on that is scary. Yeah, you just don't want to be on the wrong side of that trade.
YouTube's talking about Chewy. I stopped watching Chewy. It
Isn't I think they're reporting this week too.
Yeah, apparently, according to Amir and YouTube, they have earnings on the 2nd of April. So, what is that, Thursday?
Right.
Let me look them up here. I'll tell you in a second. Yeah, after the close on the 2nd, 4:15 p.m. So. Yeah, I don't. Chewy hasn't been one that I watched. But yeah, it's suffered a 30% decline, like most everything. It's really recovered though. Look at it. It's I guess maybe. I mean, I suppose it makes sense, right? It's if its whole business is selling, isn't it pet products online?
Yes, yeah, I think
So,
that is
so as an online
the
retailer,
business.
yeah,
Yep.
it's this is its time, I suppose, being that you can't even go to the store. So,
I think there was some concern about the fact that they, like many of these companies, they are not making money. But
yeah, the problem with everyone, as Matt is saying, it's the lead time though these days, right? Like, so it's a great concept, and it worked fantastically well when you could order something and get it within a couple of days. Now that our supply chains are all disrupted, it takes a month or a month and a half to get something. That's the problem.
yeah,
We'll have to be better planners. See, we got so used to the just-in-time world, we can't, we don't plan anymore. I want something, I order it, it's delivered to my door tomorrow.
yeah, got used to that.
Yeah.
That was nice. Sometimes you could even order it at like almost midnight and it would still come the very next day.
Yeah, I tell stories of things that I ordered from bed, on a Sunday night, and I get it like 2 p.m. on a Monday. Like, to me, that's phenomenal. That was awesome. Those days might be done for a while. Kaiser, have a good night. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, the good old days. Remember way back when we could do that, like 3 weeks ago?
Yeah. Remember when we used to be able to go out?
Yeah. Remember when you actually had friends? There were things, they were called bars that you could go to. Do you remember that? That was like...
Yeah. And restaurants.
Restaurants, yeah. Anyways, it's good times, yeah. Remember those days?
Good times. Yeah. Where have all the good times gone?
Thank you, Vinny, for completing the survey. I appreciate that. I'll mention it one last time here today, guys. We got that survey for you to tell me which of the scanners you use most often, which you want to see stay. We've got a very small selection of the scanners here because I'm on YouTube right now, showing our friends on YouTube those scanners. But if you have ones that you particularly want to make sure that I maintain, let me know. We will take that feedback into account and make sure that we keep them up. So I just posted the link to the survey again in our room. I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who's filling it out.
SPY held up pretty well going into the close today.
Yes, it did. I'm going to maybe swing a little bit of zoom here. I've got some at 149.
So I was saying Friday, I was really nervous Friday when the market started to sell off into the close. It's not usually a good sign, but we didn't do too bad over the weekend. And, while we started, pre-market, when I started looking at things, we were slightly into the red, but then we quickly pulled into the green and have been here all day. And there's the bell. There's the closing bell. So... done for another day. Brian, you said you took some Zoom. You're swinging Zoom overnight?
I am.
Oh, look at that. So
yeah.
You bought it at...
up a little bit right now, but just 200 shares. We'll see where that goes.
Okay. So 149-ish was your entry? That's good.
Yeah, 149, yeah. So we'll see how that works out. Well, I got to drop off here. I've got a call I got to jump onto, so everyone has a good rest of the day, and we'll catch everyone soon.
Thanks, Brian.
You too, Brian.
Take care.
Thank you.
See you guys. Have a good one.
Mike, did you end up finding another trade out there?
No.
No, eh?
I was thinking about taking MU to the long side when the SPY started buying back up, but it was just too choppy. Pretty much everything got real choppy there going into the close.
Yeah. Well, I said I've really seen that the last 4 days, especially. I've noticed it that it's been hard to trade to the close. I haven't taken many trades. I think the last one I took was probably Tuesday, Wednesday of last week into the close. Had some good movement. I can't remember. It was Microsoft. I think I was trading and got a good trade on it. But yeah, it's since then I have not enjoyed the price action into the close. Well, hopefully Brian does well. 149. He's taking Zoom, eh? Good for him.
Did you get that short on AAL?
No, I did not short
No, you
AAL
didn't.
today.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean that like the late afternoon one, 3:15?
Yeah, the late afternoon one.
Yeah, I was busy getting set up for this to broadcast, and that's when I saw it. And that's why I sort of said, "I hope you got it," because
no.
It had a good setup. Like it looked like it was going to sort of break up through the VWAP, but then when it put up those two sort of long wicks, right, or the long tails above VWAP, that told me that okay, so it's not, doesn't look like it's going to make it. You could have shorted it there with a great risk to reward and gotten a good return on it. But.
Yeah, I use CMEG, so all the airlines and the cruise lines don't have shorts right now.
Really?
So I'm just, yeah.
Well, they're on, for
about
me, they're
2 days ago they dropped out.
Okay. They're on short sale restriction, but they're still tradable. Because I did trade CCL today. So I was able to get a short. I had to wait for my fill, because of the short sale restriction, but it still worked out. Actually, no. I had a loss on my short on CCL, but I had a long that I made money on. Anyway, I got the trade.
Yeah, like Hamlet says, you can locate them, but it's $25 to find them.
Yeah. Really?
Not worth it for me.
$25.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. I didn't know that. Huh.
But normally I don't have any problems with CMEG finding shorts in the stocks I want to trade. So
right. The funny thing is,
I stay away from the low floats.
Maybe it's just the way they do it. Like I know on Interactive Brokers, when I've tried to short something and they didn't have it, I'll just get this note like a day or two later, say, we have now located short inventory for you and you can trade it. It doesn't cost me anything. They just advise, and then I look and sure enough, it's shortable with some volume. So I think they maybe, it's probably because if I was shorting it, there's probably other people trying to short it, and therefore they've just gone out and located it. It's not, I've never tried to ask them for something that you would pay for. I don't even know how I would do that, to be honest. And to the point you just made, Mike, like I wouldn't care, because by the time they'd find it, it would be too late for my trade. Like I'm trying to do it right. It's now or never. You either have it right now when I'm seeing the pattern, or never mind. Oh, the CMEG find is immediate? I didn't know that. So Hamlet's saying that they actually find it right away. So is there like a button to click to say find me the shares, and then they you just pay $25? Oh, it's a locate tool? Okay. I've never used
it. They can keep their $25. I'll find another stock.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right.
There's more than one stock out there to trade, so.
Well, that's certainly true. Like we say, there's always another trade. Like, don't go chasing anything. There's always another trade. There's always another opportunity. It's taken me a long time to actually internalize that understanding, because, like I've said it for years, but I'm not sure I actually believed it until recently, when I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about it. There'll be another one, because there always is. Because sometimes you look at these big moves and you're like, oh my God, I missed that. And, like I can't believe it. That was the trade. There's no such thing as the trade. There'll be another one.
Hindsight's easy. You can always look back and go, oh, sure. I should have been in there at that time.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I try now to stay away from the would have, should have, could have's, because I didn't. So why dwell on it?
Yeah. So Kronos, CRON, for anybody that's watching that, let me pull it up on the screen. Let's see what it's doing. They've announced their earnings. It's out. Their earnings per share looks like it was pretty good, actually. They had a loss of 8 cents versus a loss of 29 cents in the same quarter last year, and sales of 1.2 million. Now, the thing is, with this, and their sales are up year over year. The thing is, there's not a lot of comparatives because it's a fairly new company, and there's not a lot of analysts that are following it. So, based on the stock price action, somebody doesn't look happy with those results. But they sound positive, but you know, it's tough. I don't have what the analyst expectations are, which tells me there's not a lot of analysts directly watching it. So we'll see. Well, if the volume comes in pre-market, that might put CRON on my list. Generally, it's not the best of. It doesn't trade the best. My preferred stock is usually CGC if I'm watching a pot stock. Tilray actually moved relatively well today. If you look at Tilray, it actually wasn't that bad to trade. That's not typically its pattern.
That one shocked me when we pulled it up today, seeing how low it got after it'd been trading at 300.
Yeah.
At
Well, if you
one
look,
point.
let me pull a weekly chart here. You can see, yeah, exactly. Well, and I guess now in hindsight, you can see. I mean, you pull up a weekly chart, and Mike, you can see it's just this one spike. So it all happened within a 1 week period, and even on a daily. I mean, it really happened over a 2 or 3 day period. So it wasn't there for long. And what was its all-time high? Exactly 300. It got in the euphoric
I
state.
remember being in my office with CNBC on when it hit 300 and then just seeing it dwindle and dwindle and dwindle down that day.
And at every point on a chart, it means there was a buyer and a seller, right? So somebody sold some shares to somebody else at $300, or we wouldn't have that point on the chart. So I'd like to be the seller, obviously, but somewhere there's a buyer who bought at $300. Hopefully they're long since out by now, but maybe not, because at this point, who cares, right? They might as well hold to see if it gets back there. Because if you've ridden it from 300 to 6 and you're still alive, then all right. All right, guys, that's it for earnings today. I don't expect to have too much more. I said the only other one is Restoration Hardware, but they don't announce till 4:20, and I'll just be watching that. I think later this evening. We'll see if it gives us an opportunity into the open tomorrow. Thanks on YouTube for joining us in the room, as always. Thanks for being here. Did Restoration Hardware announce?
Thanks, everybody.
Wait a second. They weren't supposed to announce later. Oh, apparently they did. Look at that. Let me pull them up then. They jumped the gun. Thanks for pointing it out, guys. Appreciate that. So let's see what they did. Yeah. Restoration Hardware. Earnings $3.72, up from $3 a year ago. And sales are down. No surprise there. I mean, I think that you've got to expect every one of these sales will generally be down. So it depends on their reporting period, right? I mean, they could still have had a good quarter, I guess, until the bottom fell out of everything. But here it looks like, their stock prices dropped from the close at roughly 116, 117, all the way down to 102. It's up around 111 now. So, all right, thanks guys for letting me know. Well, I'll put both of those on my list for tomorrow. I'm going to keep an eye on both Kronos and Restoration Hardware. I don't really see a trade in it. The volume it's not huge. Like, it's only 20,000 shares at the peak here. Current volume's less than 10. That doesn't, if I'm going to trade after market, I want to see 30, 40, 50,000 shares a minute being traded. Otherwise, it just gets too risky for me. So thank you, Art, Mac, everybody. Like we had said before, it's another one of those. Mondays. Just another manic Monday.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. We will see you again tomorrow. As always, we open the room at 7:30. The pre-market show with Carlos, who's back. Carlos is back from vacation. He's there with Norm, and they'll be starting at 8:30, and then we live trade all day, 9:30 in through the close, and then we'll stick around to do our post-market. We'll just magic 8-ball into the close here. You know, my Oracle of Oracles. Will the markets go up tomorrow? Magic 8-ball says, as I see it, yes. Well, that's a new one. I haven't seen that in my Magic 8-ball. So the Magic 8-ball thinks the markets are going up tomorrow. We'll see if Magic 8-ball is correct.
We'll see.
We'll see. Thanks, Mike, for joining me. Have a great night.
Yep, absolutely. Great to talk with you. Thanks, everybody.
All right, take care.